Here I am. I got this this pinion out. This pinion was in there basically like this. You got the gear. I got it wrapped in the bag. I want to kind of keep it clean. But there's the gear that was sticking out. There's a bearing. The shaft went through here. There's another bearing. This is that seal where the shaft protruded through. This one on there. You had your nut and your washer and your nut. And the nut had a little ding thing on there. Let me see if I can get that in the camera right. Nut's got this little had a little notch peened over that went into a groove on the shaft. And I'll show you the shaft. Right there, you see that groove? I guess you just take a chisel and peen it over. I got it out some. I had trouble getting this nut off though. I'm telling you, this sucker was hard. I ended up taking a pair of vice grips and I clamped it on these teeth instead of those. I don't know, those are machined, those are fine machined. I don't mess them up. So, no, not that shaft. I actually clamped it on this. Then, let's see if I got it on the camera. Went over here to my vise. And, shit, sorry. I clamped the whole assembly in here in the vise. Then I used an impact. It was on there pretty good. I'll have to say it was on there pretty good. So then to get the seal out, it was pretty simple to get the seal out. So I had this off. When I took the nut off, the nut, the washer, and that off, the seal was still down in there. This just slid out with this bearing. There's still a bearing in there. And, you know, again, the orientation was like that. I pulled it out, flipped it over. I didn't want to mess the bearing up, so I laid a washer inside there on top of the bearing. I knew the bearing would tap it out, and then I took a rod, smacked it a couple of times, and it fell right out. So, pretty simple. I'm just going to get this, order a new one of these seals. I can't really tell there was anything wrong with it, but we know there was oil in there, so we're going to replace it. I got the seal number part off of here. I'm going to look online according to the seal number, which is AC1893F. NOK brand. I'll look it up that way. I can also look it up as a Kawasaki part, but you know how that goes. That'll end up being a lot more. I do see a little nick in there, but that might have been from when I tapped it out. I don't know. So we'll get that. I found out with that washer there was a rubber O-ring that came out that I showed y'all. Turned out when this housing that sat in like that, and there was a rubber O-ring that was broke. I think I have it sitting right here. Right here. And this O-ring fell out. So I was thinking, well, did the O-ring cause the leak? Well, it turned out no. The O-ring, as it turns out, is supposed to go around here. And when the drive shaft goes on there, it just seals out the dirt from getting on these little splines. It doesn't seal any oil. The oil is actually sealed right here. So it's just to keep the dirt out of these splines. I'm not sure how it got tore. It could have just got old, or maybe the last time I had it apart a couple years ago, maybe I pinched it when I put it back together, because when you really keep the O-ring's down up in there, you can't really see it. It's up inside the housing. And then the drive shaft is flared out, and it goes over. So it's just a dust seal is all the O-ring was, but I'll get a new O-ring too. We put this back together again. I made 2 marks. This is just my own benefit. There might probably be a torque spec. I'll check it out. I don't know if we can see these marks. Well, they're there. Right at the bottom, there's 2 little dashes. I took a chisel, and I did the same with the shaft. Okay, there's the 2 little marks at the bottom. I'm going to make sure those marks line up, and then I'll know the nut is back in the same position. I didn't see any crush washers in here. It's probably a torque specification. And I may go back with a torque specification. But if I look down in here behind the bearing race, it does look like there's some kind of shims in there. So I'll probably go with the torque specification, but it's probably going to come out the same with that. And I think also there was some Loctite on these threads too. So I think if I did this again, I would take this propane torch and I would just heat it a little bit. Not like red hot or nothing, but I'd warm it up. When you heat up something that's got Loctite on it, it dissolves the Loctite. Anyways, there's what's going on with that, and it's gonna be a little. I'll come back to this again next week after I got the new parts, and hopefully I'll just splice all this together and you can all check it out. Somebody sent me move the camera up here, you can see me. Somebody sent me a request a while back wanting me to rebuild forks. I don't have any forks that need to be rebuilt right now. A couple years ago I pulled the whole front end apart on this bike, being it's 2003, and it's got tapered bearings in the triple tree, and I redid those, and I didn't put all new parts in my forks, but I did buy new fork seals. And if y'all request forks, a few more times, I do have an old set of forks we can take apart. We'll see how much interest is out there in forks before I take one apart. But I have an old set, and most forks are all very similar, unless you got the modern upside down forks. But even then, I think they're probably all the same. They're not too complicated. Take them all apart, clean them, lubricate them with fork oil, put them back together. But yeah, we'll see if there's any interest in that. Maybe we can come up. Got to start doing some more videos. But y'all be safe.